Ladies and gentlemen, the Roach King himself, Asmongold, has responded to the Mizkif and Emiru leaks, as well as announced that the lawsuit put forth by Mizkif towards Asmongold has been dismissed. So it's only a matter of time now before the new Mizkif leaks are going to drop, right? The Mizkif files maybe hitting the towers, right? Who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be crazy because apparently Asmongold hasn't been talking about Mizkif due to the lawsuit because he decided to react and give his thoughts on the Emiru allegations towards Mizkif. So Mizkif tried to also take legal action against Asmongold, claiming that, his words and the videos he made, the reactions, reposting these allegations and whatnot, basically also damaged his career, his credibility.
Mizkif sued me for defamation. And in the process of suing me for defamation, I have not spoken about this at all since then. Now, ever since then, he's been talking about me all the time. He's been having, nothing but things to say about me. But basically what happened is that he sued me for defamation. And the ironic thing is that one day before, because actually last night, today, it was yesterday, actually, my case was dismissed. It was a recommended decision by the magistrate judge, and then the actual judge adopted that recommendation and dismissed my lawsuit, his lawsuit against me.
But it got even crazier, and I think Mizkif knew this, so Mizkif ended up dropping some DMs, which were apparently from Emiru, that Emiru screenshotted and sent to Mizkif, which caused Emiru to be in her own drama. We covered that, where people were mad at her because she was laughing at the N-word being used, and Asmongold was also laughing at the N-word being used, and also saying that he said the N-word before, and a whole bunch of people were mad because, it's the dreaded N-word. You can't say that word, guys. No N-words allowed, right? Especially if you are a famous Twitch streamer in 2026. Now, of course, Emiru went live to give her story to try to uncancel herself, which didn't really work out because some people were still this context didn't change anything. You still thought the N-word was funny, right? Again, I don't really care. I don't think it's that deep or that serious, but some people do, right? And you're entitled to think that. Either way, Asmongold has also decided to give his side of that whole situation.
These are screenshots that were provided by Mizkif. It says a creative, huh? And then this is me typing, I guess. So this is the context, right? So this is people thought, because Mizkif presented this, this is what he said. Do you want to keep hitting on her? The N-word passwords at 33 years old. So he's basically accusing me of using the N-word as my password. Where in any of this have I spoken about a password at all? Nothing about this is a password. There is no indication of it being a password. He completely manufactured this. There is nothing about this being a password. I was not intending this to be a password. Of all the things that you're going to accuse me of, this was completely a lie. And it was a complete lie. It was made up out of nothing.
Asmongold is completely correct here. It was a lie. There was no reason to even try to push this allegation, the whole, using the N-word as a password at 33. He could have said, laughing at the N-word at 33 is one thing. But to just completely, create a scenario that did not happen does not make Mizkif look good, right? And there are already people who are trying to, poke holes in every little thing he says, so I feel like that just was not a good look. Because it still did, the damage he wanted it to do. Emiru's community is, angry at her because she laughed at the N-word, right? People now think Asmongold is the most racist person alive, regardless of if he made that his password or not, just because he's Asmongold, and the fact there was the N-word being joked about, right? So I feel by just lying about something as stupid as this, it just kind of completely destroyed that allegation or made those DMs look kind of silly, because now you have people like Asmongold and Emiru can just quickly make a little debunking video.
Now, I'm not going to share the entire context around why Mizkif has the screenshot, but this is one thing that I can say, is that at the bottom of this, and he can't joke around with it because I know he could, because I know he would because of OTK. And basically I'm saying like Mizkif can't joke around with this kind of stuff because of OTK, and it puts him in a position where, you know, he can't be the usual guy that he is. Does this sound like a person who's talking about somebody who they don't like? This sounds like me talking about a friend. And that's because me, Mizkif, and Emiru at this time were all friends. We were all friends. We were all getting along. And so the context behind why this was shared, I think, Mizkif, maybe you should provide the context why you have this screenshot.
I think that's another good point by Asmongold. Why does he have this screenshot, and why is this like the worst thing he could find to like paint Asmon in a bad light? Because it doesn't really like do anything, right? Like there are Mizkif's own allegations of him using the N-word. There's also, of course, freaking Asmongold admitting to saying the N-word. Like, I don't think he really hides that. It wouldn't surprise anyone if he was saying it, right? It just does kind of also add to the element of like what people think, you know, Mizkif was possibly very controlling in this relationship. So he was like, send me the screenshot now. I want to know what you guys are talking about, right? I heard people saying that. I saw comments of people saying like, oh, maybe Mizkif logged into her Discord and then like screenshotted it and sent it to himself or something, right? Like maybe this is like a big like hacking thing, right? Who knows, right? That is a good question on Asmongold's part. Why did you share this? How did you get this? What is the context?
So he should explain why he has the context to this screenshot. And I think that will be very revealing. So this is like her, I guess, laughing at, I guess, maybe the thing about... So this is... The funny thing about it is that I was talking about a completely different person. The ironic thing is that I do basically almost never say the N-word. And I don't say it for the stupidest reason. I have verbal dyslexia. I don't want to accidentally say the N-word. So I actually don't say it. That's the reason why. I don't want it to just come out.
It kind of makes sense, right? Asmongold, apparently he doesn't say the N-word because he doesn't want to let it slip. You know, he doesn't want to be saying, you know, trigger or like bigger. And then, you know, another word slips out and all of a sudden, you know, Asmongold's getting canceled for like the 50th time, right? I can't blame the guy, right? That's one of the worst things you can let slip out is that big nasty word. But he also decides to elaborate on the whole Pokimane situation, which was like so crazy. It led to her freaking unfollowing Emiru. Can you believe that? The 32-year-olds are fighting over Instagram followers, guys.
Pokimane is racist for the clip. So the reason why Emiru was saying this, like I have super bad stuff online. Yeah, how many videos do I have of me saying the F word, homophobic F word from like 15 years ago, right? So like, I mean, what my point was that, so we were having a conversation about basically the different standards that different creators have, where it's like one person can say something and they can get canceled for it, and another person can say the same thing and they won't get canceled for it. So I don't want anybody, like, I know it might seem like, you know, she was trying to say negative things about Pokimane, but she was actually referring to me saying negative things about Pokimane. And because I said that Pokimane tries to have a perfect persona, Emmy and Poki, as far as I know, are friends. And so, you know, like I was just talking about it from that perspective. Emiru was not snaking Pokimane. Emiru was not trying to say anything negative about Poki. She was just simply referring to something that I had said prior to this about people and their perception online. Because I had told her that I didn't like how fake people act online, and I used Pokimane as an example of people that were fake. And to her credit, she actually defended Poki because they're friends.
More fair points. I understood that conversation as her trying to basically call out how people are like angry with Pokimane's N-word clips and whatnot, even though there are like other controversial creators doing other things like that, right? But Asmongold does kind of have a point that Pokimane is definitely one of the fakest people in the world, right? And that's fine, right? Like she's reached past just regular person streamer, oh, I'm just like a normal dude that happens to also make millions streaming. Like she's reached like celebrity status where she has to put on like a fake smile, fake voice, fake everything to create this character that she knows the simps and the, you know, pay pigs are going to come and enjoy and watch. You can't really fault her for that. I just don't think it's really a problem to call that out either, because it's like very obvious. And I think a lot of people would agree with Asmongold. And again, Emiru did defend Pokimane from Asmongold's comments. So, like, not sure why Pokimane unfollowed her for that. Like, people have private conversations all the time and they might include like another person. That's not snaking. It's just conversation. You don't really expect to get leaked onto the internet for millions to see, right?
And this is also, he wants me to react to his 48-minute video disproving, Emiru or something like that. As I said, I need to consult with my legal team before I really make any more comments on this, but I am going to talk about this specifically.
And that's where we wrap the video up, right? So basically, even though the lawsuit was dropped, it seems as though there's still legal troubles brewing. Asmon doesn't want to put his foot back in that trap that was Mizkif, right? Which makes a lot of sense. They're both intelligent people. They play mind games, right? You may not like Mizkif, you may not like Asmongold, but they're both smart people who've been doing this for quite some time. Definitely Mizkif is trying to put some traps out. Asmongold is tiptoeing through traps, just because someone's not replying to something instantly and just instantly saying what comes to their head, they're not scared, they're not running, whatever. It's for legal reasons sometimes, and sometimes there's a pretty good reason. Now, I want to know what you guys think down below as always. Thank you for watching. Peace out, my friends.